stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood movie hosts. Welcome to the Drive-In Speaker Box. It is Monday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, right here on this December 20th, 2021. Welcome to the show, man. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy, the grip.
And we've got a show for you tonight. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, it is Christmas week. We're here, we're back, we're live, we're doing the thing, and a lot of movies. I saw a lot of movies this week. I don't know how I managed to squeeze them all in, but I saw a ton of movies. What's up, Logan? What's up, Vince, over in the Twitch? Welcome to the show. If you guys want to get in on that chat and you are listening to the podcast of this later down the road, or this isn't live, you can always tune in next week on our Facebook, our Twitch, or our YouTube live. Just search for the Drive-In Speaker Box and join us. But yeah, did you get to see any movies, Jake?
No, the only one that was new that was out there worth watching was the Spoder Boy, and it was every theater was two-packed. I couldn't get in this weekend. And I was hoping to watch some of those new Cobra Kai episodes or something like that come out. They don't come out till later next week.
Dang.
I think.
You just
yeah.
missed the boat all around, my guy.
And then there was an Indian movie I was just so geared up and ready to watch, and I missed it. I just barely missed it. So I know you guys like hearing about those, but I'll probably watch. The Indian movies have been hitting Amazon and Netflix pretty quick here lately. Just to get them out there for the audiences, since those theaters, I think, are still having some trouble making things work. So,
well, I don't know. You didn't say anything when I came into the studio today, but for those of you at home, I did my facial hair like you today. Just, I don't know if you. I've got my Jake facial hair on. I was just shaving, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to surprise Jake with similar facial hair.
Yeah, no, I didn't say anything because I just hope that you keep it. I don't want to ruin it.
I don't know. Can we give him like a one of these, like a facial hair, one of these, like a Dungeons
like a fusion, like a Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Fusion. So that way, Vince can clip it, and we'll be that. He says my bangs are throwing me. There we go. I'll tuck them back behind the old. You
have the Superman.
Headphones. I got the Superman curls. I've got really curly hair, you guys, and it's just out of control. Just got my hair cut, so it's just like bouncy and everywhere. Anyway. That's not relevant. What is relevant is I went and saw Don't Look Up, which is currently on Netflix, but they did
No, it's not. That's the movie that I was going to watch, and it was a limited theatrical run starting on the 10th.
I saw it in the theater.
And they're not putting it on Netflix until the 24th. Because I was like, I'll just watch this since I'm at home. We also had heat go out. The furnace went out, and I had to.
No.
Yeah, I've been spending my time fixing that. But unfortunately, Netflix released a movie in the theater before they released it on Netflix.
And it's a good movie. I'm going to be talking about it. I got to see it. I was really excited about this movie, and I'm glad that we got it here at our local Malco. So I'm going to be talking about Don't Look Up. I'll be reviewing that later in the show. Also got a chance to see Nightmare Alley, the new film by Guillermo del Toro. Going to be talking about that later in the program. And, of course, talking about Spiderman, Can't Get Home, or No Way Back, or Don't Look Now, or Never Give Up, or whatever it is. It's Spider-Man 8 is what we're going to call it. And introduction to all things multiverse, which is now like the thing. Now everybody's doing multiverses. Spider-Man's doing multiverses. X-Men did it first. Well, not necessarily, but in a movie theater format with the whole time reset, like sort of situation. But then, you got Flash doing multiverses and making everybody comfortable with multiverses. But did you see the new A24 trailer that came out with Michelle Yeoh? It's called Everything All the Time All at Once, or Everything All at Once All the Time, or
I saw a post about it, but I never had the time to watch it.
The trailer. It's got what's his name? Crap. I don't want to mispronounce it because I don't want to sound like I'm racist or anything. It's Keiki Kwan or whatever. The Data from the Goonies and Short Round. He doesn't act a lot often.
No.
And he's in this. The trailer looks fantastic. Look it up. It is like multiverse done right. Let's see. Logan says the old slick man chews in relation to our facial hair. At least says talk about the haircut. Like, yeah, I got the old do done. So there you have it. There's the old hair toss. Vince says Dragon Ball twins. Oh, he put a clip up of us on the Twitch. So there you go. Yes, so I don't even know where to begin. Want to start with some news? Do we want to, other than Spider-Man making quite literally all the money on the planet?
That was the thing. Spider-Man really was in control of most of the news. Today, December 20th, is the anniversary of It's a Wonderful Life, debuting in 1946. So,
dang.
There's been that many years of, I don't want to die. Oh, yeah.
What a dark and creepy movie for being a Christmas movie. You really think about, this suicidal dude.
You owe the bank. We're taking everything. Deal with it.
And he's like,
no,
I
just can't deal with it.
I'm just
gonna
jump
kill
off
myself.
the
bridge. I thought everything would be better for everyone if I just was never alive.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah. God bless us, everyone. It's also the anniversary of the date that Elvis was drafted into the U.S. military and sent here to Arkansas at Fort Chaffee. How about that?
Yeah. So a lot of, it's actually kind of interesting because the Arkansas film industry has been a very, very strange, rocky road with, film incentives and lack of crew and lack of, just film infrastructure. I mean, the farm did get built here, and that's they're talking about like it's the only movie studio that costs millions of dollars, and we got Rock Hill Studios here, which is pretty small, but then there's also the farm, which has a humongous soundstage that not many people use, mainly like, Hallmark movies and Pureflix movies. But they're acting like this one is the first one, and it's not. It's a great step in the right direction because, Northwest Arkansas, the film industry is really interesting in the sense that it's very much a if you build it, they will come sort of deal. But the other thing that the Arkansas film industry is missing is just, aggressive tax incentives. And for those of you guys that watch the show to learn a little bit of that behind the scenes knowledge, for those of you that have maybe never watched or never listened, I worked in the film industry for many, many years. I was a boom operator. I was a film field producer. I've been a PA, been a AC, been all the things, grip. I've been all the things. I just haven't been a best boy. I haven't been a gaffer, but I've been everything in between. And, almost every Arkansas project for a while I had worked on up until True Detective Season 3 came through and shot. And that kind of changed a lot of things here. A lot of places were looking at Arkansas as a place to shoot, kind of for all the wrong reasons, mainly because locations are cheap. People will do things for free. They can really abuse.
I'm going to be on TV.
That's exactly what happens. And that's exactly what they're banking on, honestly. And it's kind of sad. It's funny. I remember I was working on a reality show, and you pull up into a neighborhood in California or Georgia or somewhere that's been very used to the film industry lately. And if they see, you have to be really sneaky about your gear trucks, because if they see like a lot of production vans and gear trucks, everybody on the street, and I've watched it happen. Everybody on the street will go out and start mowing their yard at the exact same time, and that's so they can interrupt the flow of the production, because you got to have quiet on set. And the locations manager will have to go around and start paying people off and be like, "Can you turn this off, please?" And they're like, $100, and they're like, "Fine, just turn the mower off." And the next person will start mowing. They're like, "God damn it!" And they're going around having to pay everybody off. But you come to Arkansas, and everybody's like, I'm going to be on TV. Come on in. You need a cola? Just go ahead and muddy up my yard and unplug everything. You tap them power. It's fine. It's right here. Got a Jenny. And, and then they just destroy all these locations and then roll out. The film industry is a weird thing. It's very, very Carney-like. And we're going to be talking about Carnies later in the show with Nightmare Alley. But, yeah, a lot of things are happening here in the Arkansas film industry, but that's time for another show. If you want to hear more about it, pop it in the comments. Maybe I'll talk about it.
That sucks for you. Talking about the film industry ruining things for people. Did you see that on an episode of And Just Like That on HBO, the Sex and the City sequel?
Oh yes,
a character,
one of the most watched things that HBO Max has ever done.
Well, a character died on a Peloton exercise device from a heart attack, and it immediately tanked their stock. It dropped no less than 12%. And Peloton is like suing HBO for using their name brand and marketing that and being like, oh, hey, look, yeah, this guy died on a Peloton.
Ooh.
It's like, ooh, can't
just say name. Well, that's another reason that, especially in reality TV and in movies, you've probably heard me say this term before, but it's called Greeking something. I used to do it to my water bottles and stuff all the time. I'd Greek them, take the labels off or put different labels on. Or when you're watching reality television, for example, one of my jobs when I was a field producer, is when you're interviewing talent or whatever, and then they say, yeah, I was FaceTiming, and you go, ooh, can't say FaceTime, Apple owns that, you got to say video chat. And if someone's like, oh, well, we went to Walmart, you go, ooh, can't say that, you got to go, went to the grocery store, and you have to sort of censor all that stuff, because you never know how it's gonna affect that company, and then that company's gonna get mad and come back at you because it's your fault. Let's see. Oh, what's in the news that I wanted to talk about? There was something that I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, you're looking that up. I saw you see that trailer for that new movie with Sandra Bullock and dude from Channing
Magic
Tatum.
Mike? Channing Tatum?
Yeah. But then it has the surprise cameo from Brad Pitt.
No, I have not seen this trailer.
Yeah, it's like looks pretty goofy. It looks like Uncharted, but better than the Uncharted trailer.
I was too busy just watching movies in theaters this week. It was just nuts how many movies I
Vince said he heard a character in something say, "Let me search engine that."
Basically, or they'll say, yeah, I looked it up online. You can't say anything anymore. It's stupid. Yeah, I don't know what else I was going to talk about in the news because I just had too many movies to review. It's just been such a big week for me. I just don't get to watch a lot of movies, and I'm kind of excited about how many movies I got to watch.
Yeah, you got to watch a bunch. I didn't even know about that many. I mean, I tried to watch that Look Up thing, but yeah, who would have thought Netflix would put a movie in the theater before they have made it available on Netflix?
I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to get nominated. That's pretty much how.
I mean, it does have big star power.
Yeah, and you can't get nominated if you're online only. And I'll just, let's just go ahead and talk about what's coming out in theaters this week. And then I'm going to jump into just a slew of reviews because we have a lot to talk about tonight. So yeah, let's go ahead. I mean, it's a big week. It's Christmas week. Happy holidays. I meant to decorate the studio a little bit, but Jake brought his Turbo Man.
Just like the one I had when I was a kid.
Where's Booster?
Well, they never sold them. That was the thing, man.
The joke in the movie was nobody wanted the Booster, so you just can't find it. But I'm pretty sure they made a Booster doll.
No.
Did they not make a Booster doll?
No, when I was a kid, they only had Turbo Man. My brother and I both had one, shooting his wrist boomerangs and all the stuff, and having the jetpack that would light up. Super sick. And then Funko made this one to be it's exact. It is exactly.
I remember when it came out because they had the giant Turbo Man, like the huge one.
Yeah, that one.
No, there was one that was more huge. It was like a huge one. My cousin Chandler had that one. We looked. I mean, That one's pretty big. That one's like the movie.
Yeah, it's just like the movie.
But there was one that was even bigger. Like, you remember there was like a trend there where like they had these giant Batman figurines and Superman figurines that are like 3 feet tall. And I don't know what you're supposed to do with that because, I mean, how much action can you really have with that figure?
Right.
It's like an action mannequin at that point. Kind of weird.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, so we brought out, that's our Christmas decoration for I had some lights, but the producer broke them last week, and he was trying to help, and he just smashed everything to smithereens, and then he couldn't show his face tonight, so he
we got plenty of gremlins around hidden on set.
Here, hang on.
Vince says there's a booster.
There we go.
I got doll.
Here's the Christmas gremlin. I knew we had a gremlin around here. Boom, Christmas decorations right there. We'll put it somewhere. I'll put it here in a minute. Vince says there's a booster and a Dementor doll.
I've never seen them. Now on the box you have the characters listed like there are those, but I've never witnessed them. If there are, I want a booster.
Did you get your booster? Speaking of boosters, everybody out there got their booster?
I did that before coming in last week.
Yeah, that's the new Christmas gift. You want to get your booster this year,
but still, that's why I didn't go watch the Spoder Boys, because every single theater had 1 to 5 seats open maximum, but each one was sandwiched between all of the
other
people.
Humans.
Yeah, because the theaters no longer observe any kind of social distance, and
because money.
Yeah, and I don't want some fat slob that's all horned out for Spider-Man breathing on me and infecting your slick doggy with Omicron and whatever.
It sounds like a Marvel bad guy. Omicron. Getting infected by Omicron.
Someone made a supercut of the word Omicron from Star Trek. Omicron. And all the times that they say it between the series, and it's pretty cool. Pretty entertaining.
Well, all right. Well, let's dive into it. Big week, Christmas week, big movies. A lot of options this week for your holiday enjoyment. If you are one of those families like mine, where you're like, "What do you want to do for Christmas?" Well, let's go see a movie. A lot of things to check out this week. Two big openings coming in to compete with the Spider-Man 8.
Both on Wednesday.
Yes, because it's early. It's a holiday weekend. People are off work. The movie theaters know it. They want to get your money.
Yeah, I still wanted to go watch that Indian movie, and I was like, I bet it's not showing. And then Wednesday, it's booted because we got
blockbusters.
Yeah,
everybody's saying that theaters are back, baby. Because you make big fancy movies, and only way people can see them is in the theater. Well, guess what? They're going to go to the theater. That's how it works. But The Matrix Resurrections opening up this weekend. Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, doing more Matrix stuff. I was having some conversations with some people over the past couple of weeks about Matrix. People that have never really, didn't dive into the Matrix, and are like, "Oh, I hear it's like this trippy headspace movie about like blah blah blah," and it
wishes it was.
It wishes it was. And I was like, it's an allegory about being transgender, and I was like, no, it's not. It's none of these things. It's like maybe
the Wachowski transition happened after the movies. I don't think that's it.
I don't know what they're doing in Matrix Resurrection. Sure, maybe there's some allegory there that we can read into it. But the first Matrix, guys, don't read into this. It's not that smart of a movie. It's cool, and it's flashy, and it's fun, and it doesn't age very well. Its biggest contribution to science fiction is not the idea of the movie. The idea of the movie is basically, what if Skynet happened, and then they create a virtual reality to feed off our electricity that our bodies create. The end. That's it. That's what if.
What if Jesus entered Skynet?
Yes, I mean that's pretty much as far as they got, and they're like, but let's take wuxia martial arts and Hong Kong pistol opera stylings a la John Woo. You've got Hard Boiled and The Killer was just crushing it in China only a few years prior. You've got new just technology that did this bullet time. They're like, let's bring China back to the U.S., which happens about once every decade. Like China, stuff that movies are things that they're doing in Chinese movies start affecting U.S. movies, and then we forget that China makes movies, and then come back around in a decade, and we'll start getting, oh wait, Asians do make movies. Oh, Parasite. Oh, let's like make a whole bunch of movies like Parasite. It's like, guys, they're making cool movies all the time, and we just Old Boy, and then we tried to make that one with Josh Brolin. It was trash. Remember, guys? And then Crouching Tiger, and then we tried to do a whole series of stuff like that, and anyway, whatever. Matrix did a good job of reintroducing us to a style of filmmaking that hadn't quite made it here, and then, like most Hollywood studios do, they go, we need more of this, get to making more of this, and then they made the crappy sequels. I'm hearing
they're so bad.
I'm hearing early reviews of this saying that it's a good sequel to this franchise, whatever that means. I'm not super excited about this movie.
They're like, if you put it against Matrix 3 and the Animatrix, it's actually pretty good. Like that? Is that what that means? Mm-hmm. They're like, but if you've ever played Enter the Matrix video game, it's garbage. It's trash. It's the worst because nothing can be better than Enter the Matrix. But if you've only watched Matrix 3...
Well, so it kind of reminds me of something that I used to say on the show all the time back when we were on radio, and I don't think I've said it on this show a lot, and it's how I often feel about when Hollywood tries to do that to you, and people are like, no, it's good, it's better than this, and I compare it to, would you rather eat a turd sandwich or drink a turd milkshake? And the answer is always the turd milkshake, because you don't have to chew. You could just suck it down, and you're still eating a turd, and that's not cool, but at least the turd milkshake's better. And that's how I feel about some of these. Like, but you liked it, didn't you? And it's like, I mean, yeah, I liked it better than chewing a turd, but I still had to eat a turd. And they're like, but you liked it better, though. And I'm like, oh, God, got me on semantics. So I'm wondering if Matrix Resurrections is going to be the turd milkshake. I don't know. It's too soon to tell.
Well, available in theaters and on HBO Max. I think it's the last rollout for the year of HBO release for all of their movies, where they were releasing concurrently with the theater and HBO Max at the same time. So, if you want to avoid some Omicron, you can watch that one at home. Matrix hasn't done anything spectacular enough to earn me wanting to watch it in a movie theater.
It does have Keanu, though. It doesn't have Lawrence Fishburne, which
nope.
It's kind of burning my sides.
There's some young guy replacement for
Morpheus. It's Yahya Abdul Mateen. He was in Candyman. He's actually really talented, really awesome.
He's not Morpheus guy.
He is not Morpheus. But I'm gonna see. We'll see what they do. But also coming out this week is The King's Man.
Finally, after like 3 years of waiting. Matthew
Vaughn doing it again. Ray Fiennes, Gemma Arterton. Quite a cast in this one. I used to have the hugest crush on Gemma Arterton. Like, she is just a hottie patati. And hadn't seen her in a whole lot of movies lately. But Ray Fiennes.
She was in the Clash of the Titans remake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember watching that one. But Ray Fiennes, like, how can you not just want to see a movie that he's in? Like, he's awesome.
Voldemort.
He's Voldemort. Yeah, of course he's Voldemort. But he's just awesome. He can be like lovable and hateable all at the same time. There's just something that's just lovably just dark about that dude. Kind of like he was the guy that was in the Strong. What's his name? Mark Strong, who was in the previous Kingsman. It's like one of those dudes that he's probably going to be a bad guy, but you still are like, I'm okay with this. I like him.
But when he is a good guy,
he's awesome, but still kind of mean. But anyway, Kingsman coming out. I'll be seeing this on Christmas Day. That was my movie pick.
I really want to try and see it. My dad wants to.
You should have let me know. I would have gotten y'all tickets. I was buying out a whole row.
No one said anything. My parents did ask about that, if we were going to do that again like we did last year.
Lisa says he is forever Gustav M. I'll also agree. He was an amazing M.
You just have to tell me which row you're in, and we'll just.
It might be sold out, bro.
Well, that might be true.
You gotta get in. I'm gonna check after the show.
We'll check after the show.
Yeah, because we're gonna be racing cars anyway.
That's
on
true.
Christmas.
We're gonna be doing it.
That's what we do. It's Christmas traditions. Did you guys get a car?
No, but I heard that you did.
I did. did. We race slot cars on Christmas. Our families, we have started this tradition of slot car racing for money, and it's a pretty fun little tradition. We gather at Pinpoint and we do slot car races, and you got to buy in. It's a fun family tradition. It's the Santa 500.
Well, after last year, I had my eyes on a little WRX car, and then I lost track of it and what size it needed to be, and then I was reminded. Your mom reminded me, but it was too late. I couldn't get one.
Anyway, all right. Well, those are the two movies that are coming out this weekend. You can check them out. It's over the holiday. You really only have a handful of choices right now because it's all blockbusters. So let's
Nothing but big ones.
Let's talk about some movies because we've got 3 movies to cover in 30 minutes. So that's less than. That's 10 minutes a movie. We gotta hustle. I'll go fast on Don't Look Up because a lot of people are going to be watching this pretty soon. But Adam McKay directing this one and also writing this one. And this movie is definitely a movie for people that like really well-written movies. This movie is becoming very divisive because it's a political and social satire on. It's kind of like. When I was watching it, I was thinking, okay, it's 1 part Idiocracy, 1 part Wag the Dog, and 1 part Armageddon. So if you were to mash up all 3 of these things and set it in modern day, you would get Don't Look Up. And essentially, the plot is as follows. You've got 2 pretty low-level astronomers. You got Leonardo DiCaprio, who is a doctor at, I want to say, Michigan State, and then Jennifer Lawrence is one of his PhD candidate students, and they find an asteroid that is heading to planet Earth. It's like the size of Mount Everest, and they run all the calculations, and it's not going to stop. It's coming. It's going to hit us. It's on a collision course. So they call their buddy in NASA, who's played by Rob Morgan, and they show him the data, and they're like, oh my God, this is really going to happen. And the guy at NASA is like, well, we got to run this up to Pole. We got to send this to the president. So they get this meeting. They're all super nervous. They go meet the president, and the president is Meryl Streep, and the Secretary of State or whatever is Jonah Hill, who is her son. And it is very much a Trump parallel here. And Meryl Streep is just bent on public opinion, what she looks like, how she doesn't care about science. She's like, whatever, science. People say at the end of the world, they're like, meh, global warming, meh. And it's very Trumpish and hauntingly so. And they kind of dismiss the whole thing. And the Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence are like, oh, well, what do we do? So they decide to take it to the mainstream media. So they go on a show hosted by Tyler Perry and Cate Blanchett, and it's like
that sounds like the worst show ever.
It's essentially like The View. It's just like 2 unlikable, talking head jackasses on a Today Show, and they're all like, so blah blah blah, and they kind of get dismissed there, and they have a breakdown, and are like, are you fucking kidding me? That we're all gonna die, basically. And so the whole world starts getting torn between, is this real or is this fake news? And then eventually it's found out that it's real, but there's a sort of Apple type character, that runs this tech company, and he discovers that there's like expensive minerals to be found on the asteroid. So everybody's just like, no, the asteroid's not real. Don't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And then science is saying, no, it is. It's coming. We're all going to die in 6 months. And it's just this crazy, weird, off the wall about like driving the narrative on TV. What do you believe? What do you don't believe? And everybody, the Don't Look Up is a campaign by the Republican Party of like, don't look up, it's not real, it's a liberal hoax, and blah blah blah, and then everybody dies. No spoiler alert, all of humanity's wiped out at the end because like nobody would listen, and everybody's fighting. There's a really hilarious side plot between Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi, and they're there's this big fancy pop star named Riley Bina and her boyfriend DJ Cello, and it's about their relationship, and every time they like tweet something, that's what the news is caring about and not the meteor that's hurling towards Earth. And it's just a hilarious, weird, dark comedy about how we interpret information and what our priorities are as like a species that is completely wrapped up in social media and narcissism and, you know, hubris and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to be saying hubris a lot in the next review, but weird that word came up. Timothy Chalamet's in it. I mean, it's got all these people. It's really funny. It's a dark comedy. It's not for everyone. There's a lot of dry humor, a lot of very subtle humor. You got to pay attention. That's why I wanted to watch this in a theater, because if I was watching this at home, I would miss so many of the jokes, so much of the commentary of this movie and what they're trying to say between the lines and between the gags. I wish Jonah Hill's character would have been tamed down a little bit more. He was a little too bro-y for me. But for the most part, I thought the movie just nailed it. I mean, as James said on Facebook, he said, "You had me at Idiocracy." And yeah, if you liked Idiocracy, you're going to love this. It felt very Mike Judgy in a lot of ways, and I think that we're going to, you know, see a lot more from Adam McKay because, you know, he did a good job writing this one and directing it as well. So take a look at this one when it hits Netflix. And if you get a chance to see it in a theater, it's a great theater movie.
Yeah, but it will be on Netflix come Friday, Christmas Eve. What's the thanks, Knox Holland. What's the
best podcast on Twitch, but got here late, so I may have not to endorse the current bow take. Okay, thank you for this. I didn't know you could comment on a sub. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Hey, what's the name of the pimp in
Huggy Bear?
No, in Idiocracy, where she's like, "Oh, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna fire me."
Remember.
And at the end, he wakes up from his like pod with his fur coat and sets off to find her.
That movie is genius, by the way.
It's such a good
So
movie.
up at Don't Look Up, check it out. There you go. Okay, what's the next movie I say? Let me have a little VSOP brandy break before I start talking about the next film. This next review brought to you by Brandy. So the next movie I was going to talk about is Nightmare Alley. Now, Nightmare Alley is, the latest movie from Guillermo del Toro. Everybody knows Guillermo del Toro because everyone's like, I saw Pan's Labyrinth. But, you know, Guillermo del Toro has done a lot of movies that all feel thematically similar. He's written several movies, directed several movies. But everybody just kind of goes, "Oh, hey, yeah, the one with the eyeball guy," and he's
the fish fucker guy.
He's that guy. But he did Shape of Water, Crimson Peak, Pacific Rim.
Thanks, Vince.
Which you don't want to. I don't like Pacific Rim. I think a lot of people forgot that he did Pacific Rim.
I know some people that are obsessed with Pacific Rim.
The storyboarder. So cool. Gus was obsessed with Pacific Rim.
But it's so bad.
It's terrible.
And then the second one happened, and what's your defense for that? It's just
more of the same. But he did Blade 2. He did Blade 2, Hellboy 2. Hellboy 1 was pretty good, but Hellboy 2, not so good.
Is real bad. Hellboy 2 is so bad.
But, if you go back, his first film, Kronos, is actually really good. And, Guillermo del Toro is really known for his sort of dark visual style and his sort of penchant for
fish fucking.
Well, yes, I was going to say something a little different, just like dark fantasy, and he going into Nightmare Alley, the way that the trailer portrays this movie, it makes it feel like we're going to go on another sort of magical journey through this dark 1930s, 40s sort of noir carnival, and carnivals are spooky and sideshow stuff. You got Willem Dafoe being like, "Step right up, I'm Willem Dafoe, and look at the man who's looked like a goblin since he was born. It's me." And which I'll be talking about how amazing Willem Dafoe is in the next review. And you've got another huge cast. I'm pretty sure that Cate Blanchett is in every movie right now because she is also in Nightmare Alley playing a very different character. You've got Toni Collette in this movie, Bradley Cooper, Willem Dafoe, Rooney Mara, Ron Perlman, again, he was in Up in the Air. He's in this one. I guess Ron Perlman got real broke because you don't see Ron Perlman a whole lot.
Maybe him and Cate Blanchett were just hanging out one day having coffee, and they're like, you know what? Let's get ourselves some jobs.
Do some movies.
And they just started going to studios kicking down doors. Put us in the damn movie. And they're like, holy crap, Kate Blanchett and Ron Perlman. Yeah.
You got it, guys, because Ron Perlman's a big, intimidating dude.
They're like, what movie? What are you working on right now? Put us in it.
Put us in it.
Sure, you got it.
Well, Ron Perlman, and Guillermo del Toro, of course, have a back history with Hellboy. Mary Steenburgen was also in this movie with a really kind of eerily chilling performance. And Mary Steenburgen, actually, I believe she still lives in Little Rock in Arkansas.
She lives there?
She lives there.
I don't know if she lives there.
I think she was married to Ted Danson, or still is. I think they're still married. I think they lived in Arkansas for a little while. And, I worked with her on a movie before.
How about that?
And she's super nice. She's one of the nice, and has a great singing voice, by the way.
Yeah, Clayton Ravine.
She is a super nice lady. But anyway, Nightmare Alley is not a dark fantasy, and that's my biggest. So McLean says, "Is it his Lovecraft movie?" Finally. No! And I was really hoping, with a name like Nightmare Alley and all of this dark noir.
Oh, start being like the psychosis and things of the elder gods and Tulu coming and just being like warping people.
Well, and here's the thing, is because I'm such a ding-a-ling and got caught like thinking too much about like being Guillermo del Toro that I completely forgot that Nightmare Alley is a remake of it's an adapted film, and it's a novel, an old novel that's been made into a different movie in 1947. It's another noir, and I didn't put two and two together until after I left the theater, and I was like, well, this seems so weird to be an original movie in 2021. What the heck? And then I was like, well, of course, it's a remake. And as Elisa said, she didn't like it. Sorry. And, after I got out of the theater, because my first instinctual reaction to this movie is I didn't really like it either. And, I was waiting for more. I kept wanting more. And this movie is essentially a story. It's very much an Ouroboros tale of, biting your tail and starting from humble beginnings, doing the classic Icarus, flying too close to the sun with your new gift, and then failing because of your own hubris and getting back to where you started but worse. Lisa says, really thought it was going to be about psychosis and the unraveling of the mind into believing he was really psychic. And yeah, I think that would have been a more interesting tale. But given that this is based off of a novel, I guess you're kind of sticking to this it's a story about a con man, and it's a very slick, glossy, dark, stylized tale of a snake oil salesman, essentially a mentalist that gets too far down the path of mentalism and pushes the envelope. And what's really interesting is I have a friend of mine who is a mentalist, Chase Goforth. I don't know if he's even going to watch this show or not, but he did the seance shows that we did at Nightmare on Block Street, and he did a mentalism performance, seance performance. And he even mentioned, this is before I saw this movie, and talking about how like you never want to get people to really believe that you've got the power, because it can really shake people, and some people can believe it too much and get, follow you home and want more and want to talk to their dead loved ones and just make them nuts. And that's kind of what happens in this movie. And instead of going, whoa, guy, it's just for show, the guy was like, wow, this guy's rich. Yeah, I can talk to the dead for real. Let's do a private consultation, and we're going to talk to your dead wife. And that does not go well. And, I think that if I had been a little bit more prepared for the story I was going to tell, I often make the example of drinking Coke or drinking Sprite or water and thinking it's the opposite. Like you grab a Sprite and it's water, you grab a water and it's Sprite, and you go, whoa! Even though both Sprite and or water is totally palatable and potable, and you're like, oh yeah, I love water, but it's just what your body had prepared for, so you're kind of like, I don't like this. And that was kind of my reaction to Nightmare Alley, as I went in thinking I was going to get Sprite, and I got The Shape of Water without a fish man. And it was a little weird. But I will say, the music's fantastic. The cinematography's fantastic. For a period piece, which period pieces are hard to do, although I do have one big complaint about period pieces. Again, going back to the rule of the drive-in speaker box, follow the rules of your universe that you create. That's a big one for us in this show. And, you know, in the 1930s, you know, like when you're going to like call someone a bad word, you're like, you know, you'd be like, and 2 pence on the skinny, you yam ham, you know, or whatever the hell that they said back then. Like, do you know any like 1930s, like, you know, digs?
No.
You know, like look at that dame. Her yams are the cat's meow. You know, and like they talked like weirdos. Like watch these old movies.
I don't know that people like that was just
that was
like
exactly
an
what
everyday thing. I think that was like
that urban slang.
Like
see, you know, we're gonna go over here to the picture house and catch us a show on the 5 and Dimer, and you know whatever the hell they would say. But then you know, and they started the movie talking about like stuff like that, you know, and then later in the movie they're like, "Fuck you, you motherfucker, son of a bitch," and you're like.
Oh. That's like why I hated Deadwood, the TV series.
Yeah,
is because they just
use modern cursing.
They did, and they used it repetitiously. And there's even a behind the scenes about it. Like, oh well, we did this to give you the feel, to make it seem like that. I'm like, no,
that is the opposite of the feel. You know, and I don't like being pulled out. You know, of a period piece where I'm like slowly seeping into that time period, and then have somebody like, you know, call me a name that I'd hear in 2021. I don't.
They were like, "Hey, buzz off, turd sniffer."
Yeah,
it's like that's
and like Vince goes, "That G-man's all wet," and that's true. That's all wet. Now, if you're like, if you call somebody all wet, that's kind of like, hey,
G-man, that's all wet.
Getting that G spot is all wet.
Okay, we're moving on.
Moving on. Elise says it really seemed like it switched directors about an hour in to me. Well, and it did, because it not only did it switch complete tonality of the movie, but the storyline changed, and it spent all this time on this carnival as a build-up, like these characters were going to mean something, and then it shifted gears completely and never really revisited those characters, despite the name being Nightmare Alley. And I mean, it's total foreshadowing, totally set it up for you to kind of know what was going to happen at the end. And I don't know, it didn't stick the landing for me, despite the fact that I love noir, absolutely love noir. I love Art Deco shit. I love detective shit. I love dark shit. I love in a cold, rainy alley on a dark, stormy night, and a cigarette under the light post, you know, and a Zippo lighter, and the phone rang, and she was in my life forever. Like that kind of shit. I love it. But this one didn't really scratch. It started to scratch that itch, but then like backed away at the last second, and then my back itched for the rest of the movie, and I was pissed. So I don't know. Nightmare Alley. You could check it out. It's a beautiful film. But maybe if armed with the information that I just gave you, you can go into this movie and maybe you'll appreciate it more. And maybe I'll revisit it one day and I'll appreciate it more. I don't know. I don't
like Guillermo del Toro movies.
Yeah, well, you know, I do. So, anyway. All right. Talking about Spider-Man. You guys ready? So, earmuffs for anybody that cares about spoilers.
Don't do it, though.
Don't spoil it?
Yeah.
How?
Good point. But
I mean, okay. Let me start by saying, and I don't say this often about comic book movies, I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed this movie. This movie, to me, felt like the first Spider-Man movie they've actually made. Like, it felt like a Spider-Man movie, the way a Spider-Man movie should be.
Instead of an Iron Man Jr. movie?
Yes. It was a Spider-Man adventure. It felt comic booky, which is something that even the Marvel movies don't seem to capture, really. It felt like reading a comic book. Like, all the... You know, because there is a sense of stupidity and closeness of, like, you know, their city where, you know, there's all of these superheroes in it, and it feels a little ridiculous. And Vince says, saying that I enjoyed it as a spoiler because normally I don't. This is true. And, you know, the other big thing for me that was really surprising and refreshing going into this movie is it's the first huge budget example of studios just listening to the public and the internet and whatever and doing sort of what we've been asking for, kind of like Sonic.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. I mean, was Sonic not a huge budget film? I mean, they spent a lot of money on it when they did them reshoots.
Not like this, because the amount of money that's tied up into this movie, you got to think about it. This is not just Sony. This is Marvel. This is Buena Vista. This is the MCU meeting the Sony U, meeting the Columbia Pictures like this is a lot of people working together that would normally never work together because they're like, this is the future of all money. So what do we do? And they were, and the cool thing is it's working. You know, basically this movie is everything that you've read that's a fan fiction, like, you know, if you were to read slash fiction and just go on message boards and everybody's like, well, you know what they should do is they should get the lizard and bring him back, and then Andrew Garfield comes in, and then they already do multiverses, so why not just... And that's what they did. They're like, all right, fuck it. If this is what all these people are saying on the internet and that's what they want, then I guess we'll give it to them. Turns out $250 million at the box office in 3 days. Well, maybe you should have listened to everybody, because that's exactly what they did. No spoilers. If you've been on the internet talking about Spider-Man in the past, I don't know, 22 years, then you got the movie that you've been wanting to see. And they even set up, and this kind of pissed me off a little bit, they set up the black suit Spider-Man story. I didn't know how they were going to do it, because everybody knows that, I mean, if you watched Venom, the new Venom, there in the Stinger trailer, there was a thing, there was like a rupture in the multiverse, and then Venom's like, who's the Spider-Man? Let's go see him. You know, so you knew that they're building up. That's not a spoiler. And of course, in the end credits of this one, it's Tom Hardy, you know, asking, I guess he has been brought into this multiverse as well. He's asking a bartender, and he's like, so you're telling me this planet is full of like super people, and it's not just me? And he's, you know, making jokes, and then he teleports away, and there's like a little piece of black goo left over that doesn't go away with Venom. So it's like you're not going to get Tom Hardy Venom, which is actually a really brilliant way of setting the slate clean and going, okay, Tom Hardy Venom's going to be Tom Hardy Venom in the Tom Hardy Venom world. But we've got an opportunity to tell the actual true Venom storyline, which sucks because the character that plays Flash in this Spider-Man universe absolutely sucks butt, and I can't stand him. And that is the story of Black Suit Spider-Man. But grief-stricken Spider-Man plus Black Suit equals Spider-Man 3, which we've already seen with Tobey Maguire, but they did a weird job of it, and it got kind of weird because they wouldn't let Sam Raimi make the movie that he wanted to make. But this movie, if you've been on the internet at all, it's the Sinister Six movie that Sony has been teasing about for 10 years. It's the Sinister Six movie that they were setting up after Sam Raimi got canned and they had to reset it with Andrew Garfield. They've been wanting to make a Sinister Six movie since they started Spider-Man movies. They finally got to do it in a weird way, you know, without like doing sort of canonical series of setups of bad guys and storylines. They managed to do what the internet told them to do. And it's like, you've already done it. Like, just cram it all in the same movie. All these people are still alive, right? You've got the money, so do it. And they did. And it was cool.
Who's the sixth villain?
Rhino. He's not. You see a little flash of him, but I mean, they did such a bad job with Rhino in Spider-Man 2B, I guess.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Amazing. And there was a lot of little fun references, like Andrew Garfield was all down on himself, and they were like, say you're amazing, and he's like, whoa, you know, because he was like all sad. And I mean, don't act like you don't know.
Wow, I watched all the spoilers. Yeah,
We've been saying it on the show years before this movie came out. And guess what? Rewind.
Shout out to South Korea for putting all the spoilers up for me. Appreciate it.
Rewind to Drive-In Speaker Box episode 893 or whatever, and go back, and it's going to be me going, hey, they're just going to pull an X-Men Origins where they say, no, none of these things that you think are going to happen. You don't know. And then the movie comes out and it's exactly what you thought it was going to be, because duh. And that's okay. It's got all the Spider-Mans in it, and it's fine, and it's great, and that's what you want. And there's no surprise there. It's just cool. Although there were a couple of people in the audience that were like, oh my God! Like when it happened. And I was just like, you pathetic informationless goon.
That's probably my friends. I had several friends like, I deleted social media for several days so that no one could ruin it, and it worked. Success. Everyone loves me. The movie was sick.
I don't know. The weird thing to me is that normally I don't like these movies, and I'm also a kind of guy that I don't like spoilers. I really, really don't. I feel like we live in a world where spoilers are just a part of, you can never have a Luke, I am your father moment again. And Sony, for better or for worse, did a really good job of keeping a lot of this stuff under wraps, because, it was more than I expected, to be honest.
Dude, hit me with spoilers. I don't give a crap.
Willem Dafoe is the GOAT. Willem Dafoe, I swear to God, like, that man has not won enough awards. He is truly a gift. Having him in this movie, I mean,
he's Jesus Christ. Superstar.
Drew said, "Oh my God, that scared the crap out of me." I don't know. Drew probably heard me downstairs. He's one of the tenants in this building. But this Willem Dafoe is essentially, you cannot have a story, a classic proper comic book Spider-Man tale without Green Goblin. You can't do it. And he's the Joker to Spider. To this. Yeah, Batman is to Joker as Spider-Man is to Green Goblin, and Willem Dafoe just nails it. He comes back, and the interesting thing to me is, it's hard to properly review this movie without just telling you that all these characters are in it, but because it's the whole fucking movie, by the way. By saying, I won't tell you exactly what happens plot-wise, but it brings an interesting question to the table of, all of these movies weren't that bad, but were we as an audience not prepared for comic book movies back then? I mean, a lot of them made a lot of money, and it's really interesting to see, like, okay, well, Sony canned a lot of those franchises to reinvent and renew and recreate, but now they're truly coming back around and revisiting these things again. Why did they can them? Maybe they're learning maybe it's a teachable moment for Hollywood, and that's going to be the interesting thing.
Spider-Man 3 was because they pushed Sam Raimi, and he said, cool, you want to force me into
Joe Dante
3 more of these movies? I'm not making 6 of these. This is the last one. And he just shit on his own movie to end it. He's like, that's what you want? You're going to get 3 more of these. Suck it. And Sony's like, okay, yeah, you're free to go. And then Amazing Spider-Man 2 was the last one because Andrew Garfield said some stupid stuff and got himself fired. So they had to rethink it from there. So 3 was Sam Raimi, 2 was Andrew Garfield for very different reasons. So that's how those Spider-Man franchises ended. Sony got pushy, so Sam Raimi pushed back, and Andrew Garfield said something.
Well, the interesting thing is the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse really set the stage for this movie to even be possible. And I think with the success of that, Sony executives, because don't give these people any more credit for being brilliant than, going back to the Matrix things. Like, producers are not that smart. Hollywood is not that smart. They haven't been working on these storylines for 20 years like they'd want you to believe. It's flying by the seat of their pants to see if they can get a script that's this thick to somehow stick to the wall and get all your money. And they're like, how can we do it? How can we do it? And we've been telling them how to do it, and they've been ignoring us for years. They listened, and it's working. It made $260 million at the box office this weekend, one of the 3rd biggest openings ever, not necessarily taking into consideration the fact that we're in a post-COVID theater world, and the fact that it was
post-COVID, Omicron's running
still
wild.
Yeah,
it shut all of New York down. Saturday Night Live did not have an audience for their last show before Christmas. Broadway got canceled. No Rockettes for Christmas. You ain't getting it. So things like that are shutting down. COVID is still here, people.
It's still here.
Which is why I didn't take my dumb ass to the movie theater to get coughed on by what's good guy at fucking Spoder Boys.
Hey, man, you guys got Omicron in here. All right, you do now.
Yeah.
It was such an interesting thing to see in a theater because, I want to talk more about this movie, but again, everybody's just so spoiler alerty. But it Jake, do you get the Rocket newsletter?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I saw him in Branson a long time ago. You know, that show's got legs. Wah, 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 wah. Anybody? All right. Okay. I thought it was a good old pun that I guess didn't land. Anyway, I thought it was funny. But you know, Spider-Man, this movie, I think not just being good, you know, not just making a lot of money is interesting because I think it's going to change things because Sony still owns Spider-Man. You know, Sony still owns the Spider-Verse. Sony still owns the only character of the MCU that's still alive that people give a shit about. You know, and it doesn't belong to Disney, and Disney wants it because, you know, after the Iron Man thing, you know, Captain America can't really sell it because he's not funny. And Spider-Man is...
Captain America isn't there anymore. Now they
right.
Falcon Captain America.
Yeah, whatever, that. You know, and Thor's not funny. He's Shakespearean, like, retrofit thing they're trying to make funny.
Well, Thor's getting replaced with Jane. It's going to be Natalie Portman.
So. But Spider-Man, I think one of the reasons that Spider-Man just resonates on the big screen so well is because he's the perfect blend of big-time tragedy, the everyman, and the superhero, and just, you know, and comedy. Like, he's got a little bit of everything that appeals to all people. You know, I think that the Tom Holland Spider-Man's a little on the younger side, but it, you know, it works for an audience, and you know, he's a great actor. He brings a lot of his own interesting nuance to the character. But seeing this movie, you know, all of them have, you know, they're all great Spider-Men, and you know, I think that this movie works as not a Marvel movie. And here's the thing that I didn't like about the movie was every time Disney tried to butt in, you know, and it's like, I'm Benedict Cumberbatch, I'm the representative character from Disney to make sure that you guys all have to realize that this is a Disney Marvel, go see more Disney Marvel movies after seeing this movie, Benedict Cumberbatch out. And all of those parts were just like, oh, get off the screen, let this be a Spider-Man movie, please, dear God. And that's an interesting thing because Eternals, you know, Black Widow was whatever, you know, and no one's going like, oh, Hawkeye and Falcon, let's watch more of that. And you know, the MCU is kind of like getting on shaky legs, and everybody's like got spider boner real hard. And interesting time for Sony. That's for sure. Because Venom making money hand over fist. Spider-Man hand over fist. Eternals, not so much. Like Ant-Man's going to carry the Avengers now because, I mean, everybody loves Paul Rudd. But it's really interesting to see what's going to happen because don't forget, this is not a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. This is a Sony movie. And maybe that's why I liked it. I don't know. So anyway, Spider-Man, Into the Universe, Sony, Spider-Verse, Home, Spider-Man 9. Spider-Man 8, technically 9 if you count the animated one. That's my as spoiler-free review as you're going to get. Because I could spoil so much. But I'm not going to do it. You want to talk about the box office?
Let's do it.
Because I wanted to talk about Free Jack, and I wanted to talk about that spoiler. I can't be a film nerd without spoiling things. Damn it. There's so many... I wanted to flex real hard on movie knowledge with you guys, but I don't want to spoil things for you people because I became a shammy games.
Hey, you know what else? Hey, you know what did come out this week that I watched, though?
What?
Talking about post-COVID. South Park Post-COVID Part 2 was released on Paramount+. I watched that. Wasn't as good as the Part 1, but it was okay. It was kind of funny.
You know what? Screw box office. We've got gifts to open.
I did watch something. I forgot that I watched the South Park Post-COVID Part 2.
Well, we're running out of time. I'm sorry I talked too long about Spider-Man. Hannah says, Atbo, do an S. What, like a safety dance S? I don't know what doing an S means. But we need to open the rest of our Christmas Story advent calendar because Christmas is coming up. So I'm gonna turn things over. We've got so many things to open. Oh my gosh, guys! Are we gonna?
Well, there's 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we gonna save a few for the next week? I mean, it'll be after Christmas, but not that long after Christmas. What are we gonna do, Jake?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
What do you guys want to do? let's just keep opening them and we'll see. All right, I've got the mobile cam ready. You'll remember from last week, the last one we opened was Lone Star Ralphie. So we're gonna continue over. Let's just dive in over to the small cam, the Advent calendar cam,
the shaky cam.
All right, what do we got here?
Here we go. Day
going
1.
In next day.
Broken glasses.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Your eye out.
And
How about
did.
that?
He went blind, and that was a tragic day.
And then he lied about it.
It's the and he said the fudge word, and then he had to wash his mouth out with soap.
How about that?
Oh, and it's got his face on it. It says, fudge.
Yeah. Where did you hear that word? And then he lies, and he says his friend, and his friend gets the absolute hell beat out of him on the other end of that phone.
And actually, if you go to Pinpoint Fayetteville over on Block Street, there is a cocktail called Oh Fudge, and it's so good it'll make you say the F word. Which character is this?
That's one of his little buddies.
One of his little homies?
Yeah. One of the little nerd boys.
Yeah, that nobody cares about.
The big
long headband or hat thing kid.
Yeah.
All right, that one's not so cool. I appreciate the inclusion of all the. Oh, there's the dad.
The dad.
We've got the dad up next on the next day.
Gonna yell about the Bumpkus dogs.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, "Do you know what your son said?"
Damn Bumpuses.
What's next? Another Bumpus dog, which seems appropriate given that you just opened the dad.
I can't get that one.
That one's fine. He can just sit there. I got a good shot of him.
That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. That was 5.
I don't. Well, let's just keep going. It's almost Christmas.
Keep going.
We've got the time and the technology.
Got a Christmas tree.
Okay.
Base.
Yeah. Okay. Let's.
We got.
Where's the rest of the? Let's pull the Christmas tree out. Let's
more.
Just pull it out.
Christmas tree.
Let's go ahead and assemble this. So there's this part. That was from last week.
That one's bigger. That one needs to go on first.
The shit. Okay. What the? Okay. I can't do this and operate the camera. So okay, we got. Here's the tree stick.
Tree stick.
What
everyone's Christmas needs.
All right. Is this the topper?
Tree stick.
We got the topper. We're doing it. Is that more tree stick?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Seems to be.
Well, I'll get the other one. Let's see. I'll help. Another Bumpus dog. All right, that was lame.
Yeah, here's your.
Oh, we got the Angry Santa here because I guess it's Christmas. So we got this one. Check him out. It's like, ho, 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 you'll shoot your eye out, kid, you son of a bitch.
Not really sure how to go.
And then, of course, I was wondering if we were going to get this. It's Ralphie in the rabbit suit. You could see that. So, Jake, you got the Christmas tree ready to go?
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, what do you shove this up?
Maybe it's for the leg.
I don't know, but did we miss something? Oh no! Okay, I get it. All right, no, get the kid with the tongue. Get the kid with the tongue. Where's he at? There he is. Yeah, get the kid with the tongue. This is what this is. You didn't tell me that was a flagpole. Now you stick the tongue in the pole. You stick the tongue in the hole, and then
I see.
And then you get that. There we go. That's adorable. Look at that. See, we didn't even realize what that was. And there you go. Got your Christmas tree. Got it all right there. Christmas Story Advent Calendar 2021, whatever year it is, right there. We did it for you. Fun times. Merry Christmas, you guys. We're going to get out of here. Happy holidays.
There's no Red Ryder BB gun to put under this Christmas tree.
You know why? Because that's owned by Daisy, and Daisy doesn't give permission for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but they could at least have little air rifle.
I talked to the CEO.
Air rifle model.
I talked to one of the CEOs of Daisy, and they're really, really not cool about using Daisy BB guns and other things that they don't have permission for. That's why Red Ryder is not in A Christmas Story 2, because they got the script and they were like, we didn't like the way we were portrayed in this, so they decided not to let them use the Red Ryder BB gun. They're like, the script sucks. So yeah, no Red Ryder in this, because that's a brand name. They had to Greek it, just like we said in the very beginning of the show. Learn something new every day. Drew says, have a great night, guys. Feel free to be as loud as you like. I thought someone was just at my door yelling. I didn't. That's funny. Vince says, looked up at the ages, and it's 4 and up. You guys figured it out.
Hey, nailed it. Vince also said that the last 2 Fast and Furious movies are going to be filmed at one time and released in 2 parts. Hey, that might be the better way to do it. Worked out for Lord of the Rings. So
says adult supervision required. Anyway, all right, well, we're going to get out of here. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus, Happy Winter Solstice, Happy... what other things are there?
That's the majority of them.
I think that's all the big ones. So have a good time. Watch some movies. We will see you guys next Monday. We're going to be talking about maybe The Matrix, definitely The Kingsman, maybe The Matrix, and make good decisions. Ho, ho, ho. Be on the good list, not the naughty list, and all of that stuff. So anyway, take care, guys.
See ya.
Bye.